Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman Raw. Yeah, we got this Mazda CX-3 in here, and we're going to be smashing a couple of coats of clear coat down on it. I've slightly changed up the way that I paint these lately. I just thought I'd give you just a quick intro. You might be able to hear me a little bit better before I go in there and put the respirator on. But the gun that I'm going to be using, so I use that one for the base coat. I use this one for the candy stage. I did do a video on that. I've probably already uploaded that before this one. And then for the clear coat, I'm going to be using the PPG LVC 105 clear in the SATA CC with a 1.3 on it. So this gun here is a little bit slower than your normal SATAs with a 1.3 on it, but yeah, it's a very pretty gun. I do like this gun. And one thing that I was just, as I was sort of putting this pot together, I wanted to make a point that I prefer the SATA pots over the 3M PPS. Now this one's okay, don't get me wrong, but what happens is you get a little bit of paint on there every time you paint, and before you know it, they look like this, and they're filthy. Some people say, oh, you can clean them, but you can't. You really can't clean them. They're actually, they have a non-stick sort of surface here, but obviously it doesn't work because stuff still sticks to it. But yeah, my point is basically, I swear sometimes when I see some stuff drop in the paint, sometimes it can actually come off of here. Yeah, either way, it's not that big of a deal, but I do prefer, just mainly just because you've got a fresh, clean pot every time. Either way, we should be just about right to go. And it was a toss-up between this one here or this one. I was nearly going to use that. I really do need to revisit and do another video because I've updated the way I spray this, and it's totally leveled up my experience with the Supernova. But oh, so many beautiful bloody guns, man. I don't know, I'm so privileged and so happy. I actually, I'm not even joking, I do appreciate everything that I have in this world, and very, you know, gratitude, I guess that's the right word. But I'll just sit you guys up here for a few seconds. But yeah, when it comes to like doing YouTube reviews, Spray Guns Direct is the perfect company for me because, right, hold on 1 second. Yeah, the reason that Spray Guns Direct are perfect for me and this channel is they don't care what I say. They don't want to have any input in the content that I create, right? So here's a good example. Segola sent out a couple of guns direct, right? They directly sent out the guns to me. I criticized them, and I think, you know, it's valid criticism, but apparently they were talking to Spray Guns Direct to Chris, and they're like, oh, why is he bagging on our gun? And now, if Chris sent the gun out, he wouldn't care. They don't care what I say. The way they look at it, look, as long as you tell people to buy from Spray Guns Direct, they don't care what they sell. So even from a business perspective, they don't care. On another hand, they want honest opinions on their products because they want to direct their customers in the right direction as well, right? They want happy customers, right? So if they get a customer come in and say, hey, look, I don't care how much it costs, I want the best of the best, right? Well then they can say, oh well, Gunman recommended this one. Hey, he did say it was a little bit high on the price, but this customer doesn't care, so maybe we'll point them in the direction of this gun. But then the next customer might come in and say, hey look, I want a gun that performs well, but I don't want to break the bank. And then they could turn around and say, oh, the Gunman said the ANI F-160s perform just as well as many of the top line guns for a fraction of the price, so they can send them in that direction. So yeah, that's why the relationship sort of works, you know. I guess I just wanted to point that one out. And yeah, my opinions are my opinions, they remain my opinions. I've made that very clear to even Spray Guns Direct the whole way through. Yeah, so that's it. But yeah, what do I think of this gun? I love it, absolutely love it. But I wouldn't even necessarily recommend it to most people. I actually do think they are a little bit overpriced. You know, if you're a daily spray painter like myself, top of your game, making good money, go for it, man. You know what you're buying. You're gonna get the use out of it, right? You're gonna use it every day.
You know, you can see the price, obviously, and if you can justify the price, you'll probably be happy with the gun. But would I recommend an apprentice who's on, you know, a lower wage, who's, you know, trying to sort of, I don't know. But in saying that, again, if you are an apprentice and you can justify the price, if you don't blow your money on, you know, booze and, you know, drug-fueled weekends, like I did, when I was an apprentice, hey, that's just the truth. Well then maybe, like, I mean, yeah, you'd be better off buying that than, you know, putting it all on black at the casino. Well, unless you double your money. But yeah, like, that's the kind of shit I used to do. It was nothing for me to blow like $500 on, like, in a couple of hours at the casino. You know, buying stupid women's drinks. Buying yourself stupid drinks, you know, smoking, whatever, man. So I guess these days I don't feel as strongly, like when I started this channel, I'd take it strong, oh man, starters, man, they're way overpriced and they underperform. Well now, I don't necessarily feel that strongly about it as I used to. I just say, man, your money, whatever, man, they're great guns now. So when I first started using starters, I used my boss's starter, and it was a 1.4. I'm like, man, this gun's terrible. Like, it was an absolute cannon. Orange steel. And then there was another example when I was like early into my trade, so like early into my being a tradesman, and one of the apprentices lashed out, and he gone and bought himself a starter RP 1.3. Same thing there. So we had the DeVilbiss. He had his starter. Every job of his was orange steely. He got runs. Yet us with our DeVilbiss are just running rings around him. And yeah. Look, in hindsight, I'd probably say a lot of that was the gun selection and you know, the application and, you know, settings and stuff like that. But back then, we're just like, hey man, the common denominator was the gun. So we just thought, well, starters weren't that good. Overpriced, underperformed. That's just how we felt. But yeah, whatever. These days, it's like, whatever, man. Like, I actually do think that the guns have improved. Like, the new starters, much better than the older ones. But in saying that, if you go back far enough, I think they get better. So I used one, I think it's like an NR2000 or something. I think that's what it was. And I loved it. But yeah, those 4000s, that's the culprit, right? I don't think much of the 4000s, but just coincidentally, they were the current thing when I was coming up in my trade. So I'm like, man, these starters are crap. And that's just, I still don't like starter 4000. I don't rate them as a gun. Maybe the HPLP as a base coat gun, but even then, you know, you could probably do better. So there you go. Everything I think is gospel. You have to agree with me. No, I'm joking. I am the enlightened one. But, yeah, sometimes in life you just gotta, like, your initial reaction to something can just be, oh man, I don't need that, you know. So when, I guess I'm saying that because doing these door jams, I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for how long? That was my initial reaction, but then you got to check yourself and be like, no, there's always room for improvement, and you got to have an open mind. But yeah, so what an awesome little level up I've done there. So now instead of having an edge there's no edge at all. I can't be bothered explaining it all. I did it in a previous video, and I'm hungry. It's nearly morning tea time. Give me a break. Now, inside these jams, I'm not going for perfection. Just get a coat on. If it's a little bit orange peely, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you know, like, you can never win when it comes to the armchair experts. They're always going to tell you that you should be doing it a different way. But I think I've maxed out my EXP on these. I don't think there's much more room for improvement. I mean, there always would be a little bit, but like the way I see it with cars, right? And there was a good argument that I think I do have the enlightened view, right? When it comes to this, so you'll see people arguing about quality versus you know, like perfection versus just get it done, right? So like on one hand you've got, oh, they're just pieces of shit, just do it and flog it, you know, bog and flog and just get rid of them. But then you've got the other extreme is everything you do has to be perfect. This is the way it is, man. Do the car justice. It's not about not caring about anyone's car. It's not about everything has to be perfect. Not everything does have to be perfect. You know, but personally I even think that painting the door jambs on, I don't think the car necessarily warrants it. But the people who inspect the paintwork do. Well, they're going so pedantic. I say pedantic on those edges. So it was actually my call. I just said, alright, we paint the jambs then, right? I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think that it's necessary. But you're the one who wants it perfect, so we paint the jambs. If previously was not good enough for you, the next step is to paint the jambs, right? So, when we paint the jambs, firstly, the first way that I did it was just to paint the outside and then do it in a separate boost cycle, and then puff a little bit of the door jamb colour inside that edge. But then after sort of having a bit of a talk about it and reading some other people's sort of comments on Facebook, my Facebook page and my Instagram page, I did come to the realisation that this way is probably going to be better. Because like I say, there's not going to be any edge at all. But yeah, I do have to like double mask that edge, right? So I mask it, put the colour and wet on wet down, and then peel it off and then put the candy on, so that you're covering up any sort of wet on wet edge. That makes sense. Oh, a bit of a stretch over there. Stretch Armstrong. Go Gadget Arms. How good is that show? Who else used to watch Inspector Gadget back in the day? How good were the cartoons of our era? I'm 41 years old. But yeah, like these days, bloody hell, the kids are just watching like YouTube and bloody kids these days, back in my day, you little whippersnappers, who's got it so easy? I used to have to walk to school 10 miles in the snow with no shoes on. I'm actually like at the point where I see the value in doing things that you don't want to do. I actually really do. I see the value in that. Like, if it was absolutely my choice, I would be at home, right? But I see the value, like I get value out of coming to work and doing stuff that I wouldn't necessarily choose to do, right? I think it makes you a stronger character, and yeah, I guess even just physical health. Like this is a physical job, right? I see the value in, you know, moving your body. Oh, it's literally exercise, you know, and that's, well, everyone seems to think that's a good thing. I started doing weights in between coats. I got some weights out there. The guns, man! He's got the guns! Man, this is one of, if not the best one I've done. I've said that in the past, but I didn't do those jams. So, you know, this has to be better. There is no edge that you'll ever be able to feel there. Wow. And, oh, the best one he's ever done is done with a starter, mate. He's a convert. And it's looking clean, and that candy went down really nice too. I mentioned it in the candy video, but the previous job before this, the candy must have been funky, man, because as soon as you put it down, it's like it goes really dark and mottly. The job is still here in the shop. I might have to have a look at it out in the sun and see how it looks, but I have had it happen before. But yeah, I don't know, like, you don't know until you put it down, but sometimes you obviously must just get a candy that's gone bad. I mean, it happens. Another thing I just wanted to say is, like, I'm really coming around to PPG. I'm not a hater in it, right? Some people think that I do hate it, and there's certain things that I don't necessarily like about it, but I'm starting to come around. I'm happy to, you know, I'm happy to say I was potentially wrong on some of those opinions, and yeah, you know, whatever. I don't like being treated like shit by some of the people that sold it, but you know, that's a completely other thing. The paint in and of itself, I don't necessarily mind. I've got lots of criticisms of it. I think it's overpriced. The colours aren't quite as good as standoff, but you know, it's a pretty high bar. So that's one thing I'll just have to remind myself is that, yeah, it's like, I don't know, what's a good example? It's like going from Don Perignon, is that champagne? I think it is. It's like going from the finest wine to cask wine, you know, that's, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's not, yeah, that's probably not even the best example, because this isn't that bad. I guess it's like going from the best to just one that's not quite as good, you know, and it doesn't mean it's terrible, yeah. But that was actually a bad example. PPG is not cask wine, it's not Claudeman, it's not house paint. Obviously, I can get very good finishes with it, but it is one of those systems that you do have to tweak, right? If you just follow the book, if you follow the guidelines of PPG, you're not going to get the best results, right? And to a point, that's the case with most paint systems, I think, right? Either way, you're ranting on Gunny, but at least you're talking about paint. Well, you talked about cast wine before. But no, sometimes I'll be doing these YouTube vids and just ramble on about just random shit that's got nothing to do with paint. But you guys still listen nonetheless, I guess. Another thing that I overcame recently was these tiny little spots in the primer, in the wet on wet primer. So that was good. A couple of things I think managed to fix that is changing the stirrer, and I've been using the 80 micron lid, 80 micron filters, pre-filtering it, using a finer micron, and yeah, it's good. I'm really happy. I'm just happy and fulfilled at work these days. Last week was bad, man. I had a bad week last week. I was really run down, but I'm feeling better now. Oh, it's funny because like I'm feeling sick this week, like physically sick, right? A little bit, but I'm feeling better. It's a very strange thing. It's a strange world. But yeah, like last week it was more headaches, right? And just physical exhaustion. But this week, I think, yeah, just gone and gotten a little bit, got the sniffles, mate, but it's all good. A couple of coffees generally fixes that one. Man, that looks killer. Oh, starter for the win, mate. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Man, have a look. Let's have a close up. So this is not my usual GoPro. This is a GoPro 10. I left the GoPro 11 at home. Have a look at that, guys. Better than factory. And have a look at these edges. Actually, I'll get the torch, right? You've made it this far. Let's see it out. Where's my Standox torch, man? I love these torches because the 3M ones have fans in them. So if you go and grab this and look at, you're potentially blowing, or usually blowing dust into your fresh paint though, but this LED, no fans. Oh. Have a look at that. Perfect, man. No edge there. You can't see any funky colour. Damn, man. I've got to show you guys this smooth transition tag too. So it's quite expensive, but it's definitely worth every cent. So I put that on and then peel it off before I clear it. Oops the daisy. I bumped that off when I went to get that so this is it, right? I've only got one hand, so I can't properly, unless I can, oh there we go. So you can see, right, the GoPro doesn't like focusing on small things, but yeah, it's just got a little edge and it's straight and perfect and even the whole way through. It is amazing stuff, guys, but it only comes in a box of like 5, and they're like 16, although it was $80 for a box of 5, so I think I figured it out to be about $15–17 per roll, which is not cheap, but hey, man, the way I see it, you're talking about, what, a $10,000+ respray? We can spare, you know, $20 or $30 worth of tape, need be. But have a look at that, so clean, man. Ever since sorting out that wet on wet primer issue, man. Hey, I'm going to be putting this bloody detailer out of a job. That is my life's main goal. Putting detailers out of a bloody job. Get out of here, detailers! No, I'm joking. Oh man, I've gone to war with just about everyone on this channel over the years. No wonder there's a group of people that absolutely hate me, but also no wonder there's a group of loyal followers that follow my every single word and totally absolutely love me, because they know that it's coming from a good place, and you know, I'm just speaking truth to power and just saying what I think. You might not agree with it, and you don't have to, but it's just what I think. No, it's not my truth. There is no such thing as my truth. I'm not one of those far leftists. Seek your truth, man, your truth. There is no truth, there is the truth, right? And on that note, woohoo! Yeah, boy! Coming out. Love yous.